Hello, I'm Lauren Markham. Thanks for joining us again on AFL Riverina TV. The first two rounds of the RFL season are completed. We've seen every team in action now. Before we have a look at this week's fixtures, we're going to have a quick recap of who some of the coaches predicted would be the big improvers this season.
Yeah, I think this year in the RFL is going to be a very open year. You still look across the board, a lot of sides have recruited quite well and kept losses to a minimum. So, yeah, to say who to predict, I mean, I know we had a lot of trouble against Griffith last year and they've recruited quite well. So in my eyes, they're going to be, they're going to improve significantly. Gammain have picked up James Lawton, who's going to be probably the best centre forward in the comp, so that's going to set them alight. Then you go through Colin Gully, you can't knock their previous years, and they're going to be the same again. Mangapla, same sort of deal. So, yeah, it's hard to probably pinpoint one side, but I just think it's going to be very even and a good competition this year.
You reckon it's the most difficult opponent you've come across in the last couple of years?
I think Coolman, they've always been really tough, and especially since I've been here, they've always been up there. And with Matty Hard taking them on again this year, they're going to be another team to really look forward to and playing against, but they're going to be tired to beat as well. So
I think there's probably 5 or 6 biggest threats. I think the whole comp's going to be very even this year, but off-pending Coolman, Griffith, Leighton, and obviously Colin Gully that are going to be very strong this year.
Who do you think looks the goods for 2015?
Griffith. I think they'll be real big improvers. They've recruited really well, and Chris Serrato is just a dominant player in the league, and he will boost them a heap.
I think it's going to be a pretty tight contest this year. The boys from the southwest area have sort of recruited pretty well. All the clubs there have recruited quite well. And again, you've got your Colin Gullies who are always going to be strong. Your Coolmans, I'm tipping them to be the premier this year. Despite losing a few, they've got some good recruits from Canberra. And yeah, I think they'll be pretty good this year.
Other big improvers during the season you got an eye on?
I've heard a lot about the Tigers and Leighton. We've heard a fair bit about them. I think they're going to be very hard to beat. So, but then again, every side's going to be hard to beat. It's who's better on the day than who's got the better list or anything like that. So,
because everyone seems to be a threat this year, so probably I guess the standards. Coolman and Gammain have picked up a few, and talking to Curtis Steele the other day, they've gone along pretty well this pre-season, and then Colin Gully's obviously in the mix as well.
So you wouldn't mind a Colin Gully Wagga Tigers grand final in Narrandera, mate?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, always enjoyed trying to beat Colin Gully. They've since they've come into the competition, they've sort of been the ones that I really enjoy playing up against, and yeah, it'd be pretty exciting to win a granny over them, that's for sure.
John Anstey finishing that report there from the pre-season launch. And Tigers now know they have a bit more work to do if they want to match Gully again this season. Shane Buchanan's here with me now from AFL Riverina. Thanks for coming in.
No worries, thank you.
Now straight into the footy. The Tigers celebrating 3 premiership wins this weekend. They'll need to come out a little bit stronger than they did against Gully if they want to match it again.
Yeah, they will. I mean, he's celebrating 1975, 1985 and 1995 premierships, so it'll be a big weekend for them. They'll be really disappointed with their efforts with Colin Gully last week. They would have gone into that game thinking they could get over the Demons, which they regrettably didn't. Look, they moved the ball pretty well. They're just struggling up forward at the moment, which is something they'll need to address. John Buchanan's been their multiple goal kicker, but it's all been reliant on one bloke, unfortunately. And Chris Danaher's coaching the Goannas again, but it might actually be Mitch who's the key for them this year. He's started pretty well. Yeah, look, interesting weekend for the Danahers. Terry Danaher will be up as well, who formerly coached Wagga Tigers there as well. His brother coaching Mangapla, and Mitch playing with the Goannas as well. Like, Mitch is a top-class player, there's no doubt about that. Colin Sandbrook will be there as well, leading from the front. There's probably a lesser lights at Mango at the moment who are really leading the way. And, I think they're the form team of the competition at the moment, Mango. They're in some really good form. And look, I think they're going to get over the Tigers, even though the Tigers will be up for the celebrations. And over to Turvey, they've had 2 weeks off, so a little bit of time to recover after they were knocked around a bit in round 1. How do you think they'll go against Griffith? Yeah, look, it'll be a tough challenge, there's no doubt about that. They were hammered a couple of weeks ago, but they've had a double bye, which is not probably ideal either, but they've been working very hard on the training track from all feedback, so they probably need to do that. They need to work more into their defensive game, Turvey, and slow things down and try and block up the opposition as much as they can. But I think Griffith will get over the top of them. Probably pretty easily. Chris Serrato comes back, former coach at Turvey Park, back to Mara Rover, so that'll be an interesting welcome there for Chris. but I think Griffith will have too much firepower for the Bulldogs.
And Narrandera and Coolaman. Narrandera, they looked all right in round 1 against Ganmain, but they were kind of disappointing last week. We just heard Tim Sullivan saying that he rates Coolaman as premiership favourites, but do you reckon that's a bit of a tough ask?
I think it's a bit of a tough ask. Look, Tim himself's struggling with a shoulder at the moment. He'd love to be on the ground leading from the front, there's no doubt about that. But Coolaman, yeah, really good against Ganmain. Coolaman's only played one game. I suppose a bit of an ad hoc start to the season for a number of clubs. Coolaman, they'll go in pretty well. Their form was excellent against Ganmain and they should have a good win against Narrandera.
And the Lions, they'll enjoy their first home game of the season this year. They host the Crows. Do we really know what to expect yet from Leighton?
No, we don't. Their form's been mixed, there's no doubt about that. Last time played Mango, the feedback was, the conditions didn't suit them, so I'm assuming, they are a youthful team, there's no doubt about that. So Mango player might have out-muscled them in the wet weather. So, look, they're on paper, Leighton are a really good team. But talking about early premiership favourites, Ganmain's mine at this stage. I mean, Coolaman just beats them. They had 6 players out, and the calibre of James Lawton, Mitch Steele, and also Luke Walsh. I mean, they're quality players. So at this very early stage, I think Ganmain's the favourite for the premiership, and I think they should have a good win.
Well, that's it for round 3 of RFL. Thanks for joining us, Shane.
No worries.
Should be a good one. Enjoy your weekend of footy and netball.